And welcome back to our last game of today. It is day 2 of week number 1. I'm Nightstar, and that, of course, is Rirachu. And our last game of the day is going to be CFO taking on Meta Falcon team. It's going to be Bird versus, well, Oyster. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, we have to thank the sponsors. Of course, it's CDBC Flying Oyster, but it's CDBC Bank sponsoring us. And of course, shout outs to everyone that helps out with league operations. That's Riot Games, Carry Live Co, and Garena. So thank you for making everything possible. But the matchup, MFT CFO, what do you want to start with?
Whew, I mean, where do we start? So CFO, they were coming off of their loss versus PSG yesterday. I think they're really going to need this win today to reset their mental. MFT, they lost to BYG yesterday. I think in a pretty expected result, I think, from both these sides, although the game was really not what we expected. Would it shake up in 12.11? I think MFT, we saw them pick up a very interesting pick with the kill. We'll go into so much more detail about that one later, but I'm pretty excited for his last match of today. We've got the CFO squad on your screen. It's going to be Rest, Gemini, Mission, Atlan, as well as Koala. It's their exact same starting roster that they started the spring split with. Of course, over towards the playoffs and kind of in the middle of spring split, they were starting with Shun instead of Atlan. So this time around, a bit more low stakes at the start of the season, I think, is what's going on. CFO have been trying very hard for very long to make Atlan a thing with the rest of the squad. I think in terms of synergy and cohesiveness, definitely this current 5-person squad is very used to playing with each other. Atlan, of course, is also the player that's played longer. He's more of that veteran, whereas Shun is very new to competitive play. I think this is his first split. This is his first year in a league as big as the PCS. So CFO are trying to make Atlan work. Hopefully it will happen today.
Yeah, and for the Flying Oysters, of course, Atlan coming in, he talked about how they're most comfortable and the team synergy might be better with him in the roster. But the fun roster is Meta Falcon team, because they also have packed a surprise. No, it's not Shun coming in for Atlan, but it's Renhao, their starting support from last split, coming in from 665. This is a completely different take that I was expecting coming into today, because Renhao, support going into jungle, I mean, it's not unheard of, but it felt like 665 was one of the big carries of this team. If you take him off the squad, now what do you do?
Yeah, it's a bit of a question mark, I think, for all of us. The rest of the squad, of course, Taco, Wen, Whale, as well as Issue. We saw yesterday when MFT went for the kill pickup, which surprisingly we haven't seen all that much of in terms of the PCS teams picking that. We saw a few of the kill bans in the first round, but yesterday they did slip through, and Taco was almost able to 1v9 carry with the kill, especially on patch 12.11 where there aren't as many hyper carries left. It's definitely a very significant performance. I'm not sure where CFO will go from here. I think probably going to ban out the kill for them, but we will find that out in a bit. But as you're talking about, Renhao in for 665 instead in the jungle when he used to play support. It's a bit up in the air. I think usually when you think of supports, they tend to have better roaming sense, better game sense, more shot calling, so that kind of carries over into the jungle, but we will see. Hopefully it's not one of those last ditch things that MFT are trying. I'm sure they've had a lot of practice on that, but we're into the big event phase right now. It's going to be Ari, Silas, Zeri, as well as Corky. So Zeri, of course, is just immediately no play for her in every single game of the PCS so far. And then a bunch of mid lane bans. There's the Senna.
Yeah, we're just seeing
Maybe
A carry and mid
Viego,
lane
Wukong.
really targeted out here. You named the Viego. There's of course the Wukong still left available, but if both of the junglers are up, maybe you just go ahead. Okay, I was gonna
Oh
say maybe you just
wow.
go ahead and ban away the Lucian, but now Lucian left available, Viego left available. Those are the two big picks for CFO. And I think MFT, if Atlan gets his hands onto the Lucian pick, maybe you're not too worried about it because he isn't known as a lane dominant player, which you absolutely have to be if you are playing the Lucian. It doesn't scale that well. But it looks like Callista will be the lock-in. Obviously, once Callista gets locked in, all eyes are on the Renata pick. Do CFO just go ahead, snap it up? Do MFT allow that pick to go into the hands of CFO? And then, most likely, CFO are just testing, hey, Renhao, you're a support coming into the jungle. Do you know everything that Viego does? How good are your Viego mechanics? And this is going to prove a point. You should lock in Viego here, but can you play this?
Yeah, that's true. We're not too sure just how much experience that Renho has had in the jungle or just really in the off season trying to practice that either. The thing about the PCS is even though our league is a bit shorter compared to most of the others, which is
Whoa!
worldwide. Yo, this just
Huh?
screams big jungler main energy to me and not like I'm a support player
Yeah.
who's filling jungle. So if he can make this work, I am all aboard the Runhow debut Lee Sin game. If he can do that, but so Viego is going to be locked in for CFO. There was the Volibear
Yeah.
hover, which I would also have been excited to see. Not quite until the 11, but just the fact that Gemini is a great Volibear player. We showed that during PCS spring a bunch of months back. But yep, it's going to be the classic Callista with Renata in the bottom side. Very strong. We've mentioned it a whole bunch of times. We need the Callista to be able to be that hyper carry and snowball. Meanwhile, NFT, you probably want to maybe pick up a support. Yep,
Nautilus.
it's
Okay,
going to be a
Kench.
TK with the Ophelia. So again, also a
Ooh.
very classic bottom lane. Going to be able to get the Ophelios out of any jams. If anything happens, that means it's going to
Yeah.
be very mid as well as top focused in
The
terms of
issue
bans.
is we haven't seen
Mhm.
as much Aphelios Tom Kench. We've seen, your Jinx Tom Kench, where
Yep.
Jinx can play super far forward, but when it comes to Aphelios, we've seen more of, the Thresh or even just a
Mhm.
Nautilus here, given the fact that you're trying to punish either the Callista or the Renata in the lane to try and get your Aphelios ahead. If he ever gets ahead in the lane, as we saw in the previous game, he just stays ahead because the Callista just can't ever approach. But now, second phase, we've seen this pretty much all day. It's been bot jungle snagged up in the first phase, and then we just double ban. Okay, we have been kicked out of a champ select, as you can kind of see in our overlay. But that's been the trend, right? We lock in our bot lane and our jungler, and then in the second phase, we double ban whichever lane we want to try and focus. For red side, it's double banning top lane because then most likely you're last picking or you're last picking your mid lane, so you want counter pick for that. Or it really just comes down to which lane you're actually going to blind pick and counter pick for on red side.
Yeah, I think there are definitely a lot of options left for both of these squads, and we've been mentioning it and how like during the second ban phase, it's as crucial just because especially if you leave something like mid that hasn't been picked yet, there are so many viable mid lane champions right now because most teams don't expect to carry through mid that it's a bit hard to ban out all of them. So in that sense, the second ban phase doesn't quite matter all that much. Tom Kench, I think, has pretty good synergy with pretty much any type of hyper super carry. You can even pair him with something like a Jinx, and we've seen like LCK make that work as well. So not
Mhm.
terrible with the Aphelios. I think maybe just want to pick it to like make the Aphelios feel a bit safer. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they decide to play that one out later. But yeah, I think top lane as well as mid lane left open for both these sides. Tom Kench, actually, I would like to see him with something like a Corki. Would work out pretty well, but again,
Mhm.
a lot of options still open.
Yeah, it could be the Azir once more.
Mhm.
Just because, again, that combination of Azir and Aphelios is extremely powerful against something like a Kalista. It's very hard to get onto the Kalista.
Mhm.
Azir is also one of those champions that if you get hit by the hostile takeover, you don't kill your AD carry. Whereas if you look on something, perhaps the Corki, after a certain point on, 4 items, you have plenty of damage from your auto attacks to do a number to your Aphelios. That's the issue. But yeah, we'll get back into pick ban. We are into the second phase. The Zir is banned away by MFT,
Oh
interestingly
man.
enough. But another pick is, of course, the Galio, where when it was probably one of his best champions in Spring Split, perhaps that's something to take a look at. And if that's the case, maybe they go ahead, ban away the Silas pick to prevent Mission from stealing away Galio ults.
Yeah, and you're talking about Galio as well. I think we were doing the prep work about Galio is a contested pick for a possible contested pick for both these teams because Wen has been playing so much Galio during this spring and Mission also during playoffs. Whipped out the Galio and played it to perfection with those flanks, especially during the team fights and around Baron
Okay,
as
Syndra.
well. So it is going to be Syndra. So they're betting out what Mission played yesterday and did pretty well on. So very mid focused. There's the
Mhm.
Sejuani from the side of CFO. I think Corky still on the table, and then maybe something like TF as well. I think for MFT, maybe they want to go
Huh.
full range to try and punish the Kalista, so Helios, and then another range mid laner to try and push the fact that they have that advantage. But it's going to be an Ornn, interestingly enough.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see the bans come out from CFO because they're trying to block a blind pick top laner for Taco and force a blind pick mid laner. Victor works relatively well against Kalista, right? You throw it on the gravity field, but the issue is, again, like, they could have just played Galio here, and MFT unwilling to lock that in because they are blind picking for when. Now it looks like Mission's going to get his hands on the champion, possibly.
Yep.
But at the same time, like CFO, they double ban 2 tank top laners, and now Taco's just going to get blind pick top or counter pick top lane anyways, and like the Gnar would have been fine into either of those top laners to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, Mars generally one of those choppers that you can't blind pick anyway. But so yeah, a bit confusing that they've gone for this. But the Galio pickup for admission as well. I think it just really signals to everyone that once again they're going to try and put all the eggs into the Kalista basket this time around because it is Atlan. I think that CFO trying to funnel onto Atlan.
Should just be Kale.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
all that talk about Kale, and she made it through both down phases, and I actually can't believe Taco is gonna get it again.
Yeah, the Kale pick definitely a bit telegraphed here, given that, well, CFO, they go ahead, ban away 2 tank top laners, and MFT, they get to counter pick top lane, and there's, as long as you're not playing some sort of big kill heavy top lane champion that has a ton of kill pressure, you can pretty much always lock in Kale, because to get Kale going, to get her to level 6, it's really, really easy as long as you don't make a early lane mistake. And MFT, they go ahead and lock it in. Interestingly enough, this composition seems very disjointed, a little bit all over the place coming in from MFT. Yes, you have the scaling coming in from the Kale, from the Philios, from the Victor, but what are the protection tools, right? We have a Lee Sin who wants to play more early game. He doesn't exactly provide a ton of protection for his backline, and the Tahm Kench can only save one person. So that's going to be a concern of this MFT composition moving into game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a bit of it from the squad of MFT looks like they're just playing what they're comfortable on, what they like. So the Kale going over to Taco, and then Lee Sin on Renhao, who's still a bit of a question mark. We're not sure how he'll show up on the Lee Sin. I think it's going to be a bit make and break, right, for this time around, especially when you consider that the jungler that he's going up against is literally one of the best junglers in the PCS in Gemini on this Viego. So it's already going to be hard enough in his debut jungle matchup this time around. The Victor, of course, just signals straight up a wave clear. It's going to be the name of the game for MFT. And in terms of protection, they do have the Tahm Kench for the Aphelios. Kill ultimate, of course, also will play a part, but we'll see how aggressive Taco wants to use the ultimate, whether it's like for himself, whether it's for a dive, or whether it's to protect the Aphelios. I think we'll see more of that as the game develops. But yeah, I also like the CFO composition. They've got a bit more of a straightforward composition. It's a bit easier to play out. You know, they've got the Gnar, Kalista, very team fight heavy. They want to go for that 5v5. So fingers crossed, if nothing too big goes wrong, CFO should be able to play this one out. I mean, Gnar, Galio, of course, they've had a lot of practice with, but we will see. There's the early ward over in the back of the blue buff pit.
Yeah, and for CFO, this is such a simple composition, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of basic go tools. You have the Gallia ultimate, the Kalista ultimate, the Renata ultimate after the Kalista ultimate. It's so easy to set up plays for this squad, and for the side of MFT, how are you going to make plays? That's the real question. Renhao, this is a big test for him. This is the jungler's jungler, right? Where if you're playing Lee Sin, if you don't show those mechanics, you're gonna look like a big fool locking this in so early in the draft. So we need to see how he performs on this pick, and also just the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of help. If he's trying to make early game plays, his team's not about those early game plays. That is going to be a big risk they are taking. And CFO looking for an early trade already. That's kind of a minor win. They zone him off, or try and zone him off the wave. So, you know, all in all, kind of whatever.
Yeah, just a bit extra damage onto the MFT lane. But I mean, in pro play, you know, you're gonna take what you can get, right? Just like 100 health, 1 AA here and there, still might make a world of a difference, especially in the early levels. Might have maybe put a wrench in MFT's plans if they're hoping for something like a level 3, level 4 Lee Sin gank over towards bot. We'll see if they might want to do that. Chris gonna hit his level 2 finally onto the Gnar. But yeah, talking about Renhao, of course, a lot of pressure on him this time around. I don't think he has that many options early on in terms of where to gank, which is a bit of a problem because you've got Kale over the top side. She's not going to really scale.
She doesn't play the game.
She's got no CC. Yeah, she really needs like her E, her passive, her Q to start kicking in with the levels, and then plus she's way more useful in a one versus multiple person situation. And then you've got the Victor early levels. Like he's not really looking for the
He doesn't play the game either.
Exactly. He hasn't upgraded his core yet. You know, sure, you stun someone, and then what? You know, your Q is just gonna barely tickle and stuff. So not all that many good options for Renhao early on. We'll see how they decide to play. Of course, they would love it to get the game gone to Aphelios, but Gemini already with the wraparound right here is just gonna completely ignore Scuttle. There's a very good ward by MFT, so Gemini's gonna hit the scrying just to make sure.
This is Predator.
Oh,
the Predator being popped.
4v2.
Mission waiting for this wave to come in. This is going to be a 4v2. Renhao stuck all the way top lane as a support. Doesn't understand the timing windows, and now that will be the dive going in, but they should be able to return a couple more. It does go 1 for 1. Not a bad deal for the side of MFT. They are able to answer back, and they are able to also catch this wave. A decent chunk of gold going into the hands of this Victor, and Victor snowballing can be a win condition because of the fact that now you're going to speed up closer to that evolution on your Hex core as we get to see the replay.
Yeah, so you get teleport coming in from Victor, and Koala taken solo. There's a Renata shield, but I think that Victor does manage to get the finishing blow with
Yes.
Q, and I think the difference really comes down to 12-11. Koala just very nearly would have made it out of that one alive, but as you said, just very costly for CFO because they pulled a lot of resources down there. They had 4 people. I mean, sure, Victor doesn't have the teleport now. It might affect the dragon fight, but he's in mid, so he can just straight up walk there. Also, so it's not going to cost them too much. I think they did well to get what they could out of that one. I want to come in CFO. Though, oh, here's Mission with yet another roam.
Another dive attempt.
Does see him. He's gonna
Kale's not level
wave.
6 yet,
Oh, no.
but Mission's only level 4. Will be able to get the taunt off. Do they have enough damage to finish it off? It looks like it will be successful, but Rest has to flash. Mission has to flash, and now Renthal making his way over will be able to collect the CS at the very least. But Taco sort of shut down here. Will be able to use the teleport to get back to lane, but it is going to be an early death and a decent chunk of EXP missed.
Yeah, you can just see the effects of the 12.10 changes to the tower damage. There was kind of like that panic flash from both Mission as well as Rest just out of the tower. The second they got a kill on a Taco, they were out of there. So
I am done with this tower.
Yeah, bye. Bye, Felicia. But MFT, you know, they were about maybe 5 seconds too late in trying to pull the rest of the numbers over to the top side. Koala. Let's get some good CC down, but then MFT, again, with return CC of their own. It's not going to make all that much of a difference. Gemini, popping the pods. Also, Mission, before the tower dive up and top, he already had popped his pods before he went in the tower for the taunt. Just, I love that he was so prepared for this fact that happened. But what I wanted to commend them earlier for was that there wasn't a lot of action going on at level 1, except for the fact that CFO went for the ward over on blue buff early on, which was what gave them the knowledge of Renhal's pathing, so they knew that they could 4-man safely dive the bot lane. Because we said it over and over again, 12-11, you rarely see these early game tower dives because they're so dangerous, but they prepared that all the way back from level 1. So very big brain of them. Gotta give them the props. Props
really nice scouting coming in from CFO, knowing that, hey, if they're going to put a support there, perhaps he doesn't have a great read on the map. And that also happened, the top lane gank also happened as a result as well, knowing that, hey, Renhal is going to be a little bit behind on the play, but now he is here for the play. Will be a 3v3 down in this bottom lane, and it will be Gemini being forced off. But Gemini, of course, on the Viego, has been able to just focus on farming. He hasn't needed to make plays because the roaming jungler has been Mission on this Galio. He's a little bit behind on EXP level 6 when is level 7, but that's allowed Gemini to hit level 6 no problems asked, and now he has access to the ult when Renhal is now going to be able to hit level 6. But it's, you know, a big timing window when you're trying to make a dive happen bot lane and the Lee Sin doesn't have level 6 and your Viego does. Nothing happened. It
looked like it might. It looked a bit sketchy for a sec there, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of times we see CFO's playstyle, Mission's playstyle, is that they tend to put Mission on like these utility type of champions, Galio or Rihanna, for example, where he's very willing to sacrifice what he has to for the sake of his team, right? We saw him go for the dive over towards bot side, instantly hit up towards the top side to help out his laners, and the fact that he's able to get Gemini ahead in the Viego versus Lee Sin means that you're pretty much going to be useless as Lee Sin if you don't hit 6, if you don't make an impact in the early game. So it's very well thought out from CFO, and I love that they're willing to go
Oh,
for
that's
this
the
type of
ult.
team play. But
Tom Kench here does have the ultimate, will be able to ult out the Whale, but now here comes the Galio, and Whale, he's just eating so many spears. How much damage is this run gonna do? More than enough, and that will be a kill secured for Atlan. He racks up his second kill, and down up in this top lane, Taco takes a lot of harass, but will be able to survive given that he has some healing coming in from Fleet Footwork. Also has the extra range now to farm from relatively safer distance than before, and still had the ult as well. So no threat up in the top side, but CFO making enough plays to really warrant their composition. And we talked about this composition, like it can do whatever it wants. MFT, they're a composition that's like, let's just wait. Let's keep waiting. Let's wait some more. Can we 1v like all these all their carries are on kind of like 1v9 champions?
yeah,
But until they get to that 1v9 breakpoint, it feels like we're just waiting.
yeah, I think MFT have to be careful to just not fall too far behind before late game. Like if they're a bit behind into late game, that's fine because Aphelios and Kale's just gonna naturally scale regardless of what kind of gold she has in her pocket at that time. Because Kale scales with time, right? She gets scales with time and EXP, so you just kind of gotta wait it out, and she will get a lot stronger. Right there, Gemini gonna take a Q to the face for clearing that ward. It don't even matter because the shoe just drops another one straight up. But Alan, he's about to 100 CS, 25 CS ahead of his living counterpart right there. They're gonna try and hard shove his bot side. Their shell is gonna be able, should be able to take this one after the shell charge. Yep, there it is.
Very, very
and
low.
11-minute easy tower. Gonna go over to CFO.
Will be able to finish it off. Pretty much brute force play coming in from CFO, making sure that they get that extra gold onto Atlan. Red Howl waiting for an angle onto Koala, does jump in, nice little handshake there, but the flash kick, this is the play we were waiting for coming in from Red Howl, and it will secure the kill onto Atlan, barely though, as it will be Issue forced to use the ultimate on to his jungler, and then on the back end, Wen comes over and gets yet another takedown for that for the Victor. Haven't seen Victor in a while. It completely escaped me, but we get to see the replay.
Yeah, so they're kind of just being in a bad spot, right? So you can see Renhal, he had the ward over in the river, which allowed him to just peel onto the ward and then straight up follow that with the kick onto Alan. I don't think Alan and Koala were really expecting it. Bit of a mistake, especially considering the fact that Koala especially is one of the most experienced players in the PCS. I'll have to check, but I think he is the oldest player in the PCS. I know the CFO squad in general has the players of like
Team Boomers.
I'm like trying not to say boomer and trying not to repeat old because like we gotta show them some respect, right? But if I'm not wrong, I think Mission and Koala, they're around like 2016, 7, around like Faker age. Koala might be a year older, but there was like a thread once online on the PCS message boards. They were counting just average age. All the players from both squads and see if let's top that list. We went to go get what we missed earlier, which was Gemini. Picking up a pretty easy kill, dodging
1v1 kill, pretty good.
Runhow Q as well, so no follow-up available for the side of MFT. CFO actually, interestingly, are you gonna pick up the Drake?
Taco still has doesn't have the ultimate actually. He's just gonna die very, very easily. Gemini secures yet another kill, and this game was really all set up for Gemini to carry, right? From the level 1, scouting out where Renhao was, and just having Mission do the jungler's work for him, doing those early ganks, knowing that, hey, Viola doesn't have great early ganks. Yes, he can, but You know who has better early ganks? It's Galio with the Predator, and that's exactly what has happened. And in the meantime, Gemini's just like, hey, I just get to keep farming up EXP, continue to out farm this Lee Sin, who needs to do something in this early game in order to get value. And so far, yes, he's 1-0-1, but how has he helped his team? Not really a whole lot, although Atlan coming under fire will take a bunch of damage, but he will stay alive. Now Will taking a whole lot there. He'll remain alive as he uses the Severin ultimate actually to negate a lot of the damage coming in from hostile takeover.
Yeah, that's actually going to be enough to push MFT off. It looked a bit dicey right there because Mission was over in the top side. Actually, CFO had two members backing, and Mission had, I think, teleported over to top. So if a fight broke out mid, the CFO were 3v4. No one was able to join them. I'm actually a bit confused as to why MFT didn't choose to get the dragon after they got the double kill onto Atlan and Koala. I know it happened a while ago, but we were stuck in the replay, which is why we didn't see that. And actually, CFO were able to pick up the dragon later on off the screen. So I'm really confused why MFT didn't want to snowball the bot lane double kill into the dragon. I think it would really have changed the tempo of the last 3 minutes.
I mean, my guess is Renho probably used Smite when he went for the kill onto Koala, and as a result, didn't have a second Smite up. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
And as a result, they decided not to go ahead and risk it, which makes a lot of sense if it did indeed happen. But as a result, Whale gets a little bit too greedy, gets caught out down in the bot lane, and Gemini able to get his first kill. Now he's 2-0-1 as a completed Divine Sunder, whereas on the flip side, yes, we have the completed Core Drinker, but still half an item behind this Viego, who, of course, again, scales much better than Lee Sin. It will be Rift Herald tossed into this mid lane, and interesting enough, we have a crown completed by this Galio, so looking to just initiate very, very quickly, has the flank angle here, will get the crown popped, and, well, I suppose he's kind of tanky, but Whale now does come under fire, has green-white, which is going to give him a lot of range, but now Wen is here, dumping out a lot of damage. It will be the knock-up, and also a sacrifice, as that's a double kill for Wen.
Atlan, what happened? We were all rooting for you.
That was Koala, though. He threw himself there. As a support, you have control of where you want to go, where you want to drive.
That's just the burden support, man, making it rough for you as the AD carry. There's Gemini. They're gonna see him. Rest as well, just gonna toss out a boomerang just to say hi, but it's gonna be an easy.
Here's the replay.
One.
Yeah, and we see the collapse onto Mission. He gets his crown popped. That means he doesn't have that extra tankiness, and it really is just Koala, Atlan, they walk a little bit too far up, and I love the identification coming in from Wen. Seeing, this is the play I can make. This is a much different Wen from last split, where he was just stuck on Galio duty, stuck on set duty, trying to wave clear mid and help out 665. This time, Renhouse saying, you know what? I may not be very helpful, but when you're going to be put in a position where you can carry the game, and this is a very, very different Wen that we've seen from the entirety of Spring Speed.
Yeah, and talking about the crown as well. Crown, I think before durability patch was never in a good spot because it's not a popular item. People didn't really want to pick it up. After durability patch, it kind of became even worse. So 1211 has a couple of buffs to the item. I think it went from 60 AP to 70 AP. So in addition to all the other stats being affected with durability, they tried to buff it a bit more in terms of base stats, so you get more of the flat AP. But it's still not ideal, but you know, the way Mission plays it on Galio, I can see why you would want to make this work. CFO also do manage to pick up their third dragon. without any issues at all. They do have a bot as well as top and mid are now being pushed in, so it's kind of tough for MFT to walk out of their base. We're talking about Lee Sin. Lee Sin, he falls behind, and there's not all that much you can do because your tier 1 tower is dropped. That just means you can't ward into your jungle safely, and that just negates the effectiveness of the champion. So MFT want to play this very careful. We said they can be a bit behind. It won't be an issue. But the thing is, they're 6,000 gold behind, which is not great. Not great at 20 minutes.
It is definitely not great, but I think eventually we'll see the gold charts pulled up, and I feel like Wen is very close to the top, if not at the top.
Yeah,
with
for
4
sure.
kills and farming relatively well at 184 CS. Has gone for a very interesting second item though. Has gone for the Rylai's as okay, it might be a 1v1 kill down in this bottom lane. Taco does have to burn the flash. Does still have the ultimate available, so does have his teamfight utility with the unsealed
Yeah,
teleport. So
yeah,
that will be
right.
something to keep watch of.
Rylai's and Stopwatch just signals to me that MFT haven't given up, that they're still going to go for the 5v5. They're still trying to wait for the kill and then get that miracle team fight off to try to turn this around, right? You've got Rylai's, you go for the AoE. At CFO, though, it's a 4v3 up in the top side. Mason's going to be able to jump onto Wen for a bit of safety. Rest versus Taco, the 1v1 over and bot. Oh, Taco taking so much damage, though. Down to about half health already. CFO do back off from the top side, but Wen it's pretty low on mana, and should want to base for a bit. There's rest, stealing Grump. They're just taking all the camps from MFT at this point. So CFO going for a reset. They're gonna have 4 members back and then see what they want to do. Essentially, they could pretty much push through any of top and mid as well as bot and try and start for a fight there. We're just past 20 minutes, so Baron is alive, but it's still about 2 minutes to Dragon yet, so not a good opportunity for them to fight. We'll see where they go. Meanwhile, player gold rests easily at the top of the table. Kind of snuck in there without us noticing. He's at 9,600, and yep, as you predicted, there's Wen 9,100 right there. I think MFT is gonna try to count on the victor in the team fights. The thing is, I'm not sure if CFO will allow that to happen because their composition, firstly, is so strong. They've got the Nut, they've got the Galio, they've got so much just deny potential. They just jump on your face, and now that they know that there's only Wen that is the threat on the side of MFT, it's just so much easier to target Solar.
Well, you say that, but now, if they know that we're trying to kill Victor, and we know that as well, we have a Tom Kench. You know, Tom Kench just eats up the Victor. And if that doesn't work,
you've got
we
the
have a Kale.
You've also got the Lee Sin who can just straight up kick anyone out.
Yeah, he's just gonna sit on Kale.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, Wen, I'm your best friend. You know, me and you, we hang out all the time. Don't worry about it. If they jump onto you, I'll kick them off. I'm the best wingman. And you know what? He's going to have to show it because 1-0-3, not a bad showing on Lee Sin. But we need to see a lot more from this game that needs to get, or a pick that needs a lot more tempo. Rest now. As Meganar pops, they will force their way into the river. Or maybe MFT just go for a YOLO Baron play here, just trying to trade out Soul, knowing that it's going to be hard for them to face check. But they're going to try and contest this Dragon. It is, of course, Ocean Soul, so it's a pretty impactful Dragon for these team fights. And now Taco, he's going to get taunted up. He's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to have to use the ultimate on himself, and that's exactly what happens. But he should still go down. Indeed, that's what happens. And now Wen, he doesn't have a great spot to try and find the play. He has the Rylai, so bringing a little bit of utility, but it means that he's not going to be able to just burst out one of these backline targets. Now, they're being forced into this choke, and that means it's an easy target for Mission to find the good taunts. Does land a multi-man taunt, but now the turn comes in. This Rylai is making so much space for them, but now when he gets jumped upon, they secure the Ocean Soul, and now it doesn't really matter because you've got the regen, and now you've got the chase, and CFO mop MFT off the map.
What a good turnaround from the squad of CFO as well. Atlan, crucially, I think was able to lifesteal off of the dragon. Kind of in the middle of the team fight looked a bit dicey because he was down to pretty low health, but thankfully was able to regen some of his health back. And I think the star of that team fight for me was definitely Mission. I think we'll see the replay in a bit, but I think Taco was kind of over towards the top side of that fight. Kind of thought he was maybe going for the flank, but then Mission flanking.
He thought he was fine walking here because, you know, usually you'd expect, hey, they're all showing in the river. There's surely no one going to cut me off because if they position themselves there, then it's so easy for the rest of my team to collapse. But he had so much damage at this point in the game. It's not quite later in the game where Galio does drop off, and now he comes in, flash taunt, only ends up landing on 2, but it eats up yet another ultimate coming in from Renhao. That's the Lee Sin kickdown, and then he falls back, waits for a good position, and uses the Galio ultimate to create even more space. Every single time Mission touched his keyboard, it just looked like there was just going to be more flashes and more death from the side of MFT.
Every time a Mission touches his keyboards, magic happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And a Galio gets his wings. What's going on? But yeah, because you're talking about the AoE from Victor of the Rylais, right? So CFO knew how to play around that. They actually instantly all backed off. They made Galio out into that to protect Atlan on the Callista, made sure he had space to then go for the follow-up. So they played that very smart.
That's the ultimate. Yeah, Phileas throws out that Gravitum, does lock down too, but Claw being one of those targets means that Atlan can just ult his support out of danger. Also provides that threat of re-engage, so MFT, they're just forced to back off. That's one of their tools gone to try and flip the game back into their favor.
Yeah, the saving graces of the MFT squad is at least their wave clear isn't bad. You know, they've got Victor who's always gonna be like, he can sit in base.
Oh no,
and
Taco.
Just sit there and oh yikes. Yo, this is not the Taco I was promised, man. Where's the Taco from yesterday? What went wrong? Anyway, yeah, like it's not gonna matter at this point because MFT they're basically shambles. Like Victor wave clear is just a small part of this game. First rest. Oh, jumping in.
He's going to be a mini now. They look to actually go and turn for the fight. This is a great start, but now Galio ultimate once again stuffs the engage coming in from MFT, and now they're going to have to reset. Maybe they will be able to hold on to their base though, as it looks like CFO still looking for a little bit something. Taco, level 14, still far from level 16, does get hand shook into the side of CFO, but for now, it looks like they're doing okay, but Mission is like the boogeyman. He's just threatening them so hard. That's going to allow a really nice hostile takeover to come through, but one kill down. That's the Renata going to take a seat in this team fight. Atlan will be able to disengage, and it's CFO, while they're able to essentially break everything in the base of MFT. MFT still have a Nexus, and that might be an issue, even though it doesn't sound like it so far. Taco is level 15 now.
Yeah, he's really close to the level 16. Again, spike from the kill. There's Renhao. They're gonna try and
that's the kickback. Rest is about to go mega, and I mean 1v4. They should eventually be able to take him down, right?
Yeah, this is a pretty good timing for MFT because Dragon 1.5 minutes, Aaron 2 minutes as well. So the rest of CFO, even though they went back, there's not really all that much more they could do because all lanes are pushing. They've got new objectives to grab elsewhere onto the map. So MFT, I love how right
Oh
now
my
player
god.
cam, he's still laughing and Win as well. Looking a bit still upbeat, despite how this
Oh,
game is going. They're down about 12,000
yeah.
gold at 20
But
minutes. Okay, so Kale,
but
she's scaling. She's powerful now. She's got the
she's
attack speed.
16.
She's 16. Uh-huh. Um,
Okay.
do we see a universe where MFT
A J
make it
Team
back in this
universe?
one? The JT
Well,
multiverse.
I mean, it's still a pretty large deficit, right? But we saw
Yeah,
yesterday, MFT also in a very large deficit, but they
that's
got
true.
Taco to level 16.
Uh-huh.
And even though they eventually lost that game, it dragged out probably 5 minutes longer than expected. Because of how long it was able to stall. But now, a lot of super minions streaming in, but if Taco's able to be that secondary threat and pull attention away from Wen, then maybe Wen's able to do more damage, and maybe Whale's able to do more damage. So right now, there's just such large hyper carry threats that the only way for CFO, I would say, to finish this game, secure Elder, secure Baron. It's a pretty easy way to finish off the game, but they still need to take those extra steps. They can't just walk into the base and eat up the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, it's textbook for a reason, right? You can see CFO right now, they're over onto Elder. They can just 3-man it at this point, especially with the Kalista. For MFT, Kale is level 16. What I want to see is a world where Taco does not get caught before a fight and it's forced to ultimate on himself. I think we haven't really seen a situation where Wen is able to use that Victor to perfection, get that AoE, get his R, get his Q down, and then have the kill protect him, because earlier on we saw Taco just get caught out by Mission and we didn't see that fight. So if MFT want to have a chance of
Here we go.
stalling more, yep, it's got to be this.
They gotta look to fight sooner rather than later because they only have one turret left. That's going to be the Gnar ultimate going in. Not quite a ton of damage, but a little bit of a burn coming down onto MFT. Now, that's going to be a flash hostile takeover. They're going to be able to take over the side of MFT, and they're just ignoring the team fight altogether. They're going straight for the Nexus and then kill him. They finished off the tower, and now they're just playing with the food. CFO, they will go to 1-1, and MFT 0-2.
Yeah, I like how it was such a normal day in the shop for them. You look at the CFO player cams, except for Rest, everyone else is just like, just regular day at the office. They don't look all that happy. There's Kevin as well, one of their coaches. I think he was maybe analyst last season. This season he's definitely one of their coaches, was from the LJL as well. So CFO are backed up by a pretty good support team. But yeah, I mean, what a game, what an ending. I think we kind of saw the end coming from about 10 minutes into that game. Not even 10 minutes into that game.
From draft,
yeah.
to a certain degree,
Yeah.
right?
It was a bit of a weird, like, why are Kale and Lee on the same team? And then there's also a Tom, but there's also an Aphelios, and then there's a Victor that's like, is this a vintage comp? We haven't really seen it in a while, all that much. But yeah, good on CFO for taking that one. I think they needed that after their loss in the opening match on week 1, day 1 versus PSG yesterday.
Yeah, very different game coming in from the side of CFO. This time they got the lead and were able to continue to push the lead, which was their issue yesterday, where they got a lead, but they weren't able to balloon the lead. It just kind of fizzled at 4K the entire game, and against a better scaling competition, 4K is not enough. However, in this game, even though you could say MFT have the better scaling carries, composition-wise, it was just didn't face up as well because they just had no way to actually make a play. All they have to do is play. Their only abilities are to play around slows. The slow around the gravity well, from the slow from the Rylai's. That was pretty much it, because they just didn't have the ability to pick someone off. And then you even saw the build coming in from Mission, who was most likely the easiest member to pick off. If you're going Crown, how do you pick him off that quickly? You know, it's going to take a little bit of time to finish him off. So MFT just ran out of options. It felt like straight from draft.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about this draft. Like, I feel like teams, especially in the PCS, you need to either go full 12-11 or you need to commit your own play style. And what they decided to do today is just neither here nor there, right? It's not like it didn't look like they were entirely comfortable on it, and kind of also the Renhao being subbed into the jungle when he's a support main was a bit confusing to me. But yeah, I think CFO as well, despite the fact that they had such a goal lead at the end, I want to be a bit stricter with them just because CFO is like my favorite all Taiwanese team. Like, I think the most highly of this team out of all the other teams in the PCS who are running full Taiwanese rosters. We're going to look at the damage graph in gold just a second. There's actually Victor, highest damage in the entire game. And Aphelios also, more than 17,000, but they just weren't able to convert this damage into objectives and into kills and into fights. So I think that's really the downfall that they had this time around. Rest, meanwhile, just, you know, quietly farming, winning over in the top side, doing what he does best. But going back to CFO, Atlan, for example, we've talked about him a bit, which is that, all right, MVP, it's got to go over to mission.
Yeah, no more talking about Allen. You want to talk about Allen? I want to talk about the MVP of this game, and that was a mission on this Galio. He was the one to set up this entire game, right? He did all the jungler's work during the early levels. That allowed Gemini to hit level 6 much faster than Renhao, and afterwards he was making these big time team fight plays. You saw down towards that Soul Dragon, being able to chunk out the Kale, 1v1 the Kale, and then turn around, hit a multi-man taunt, get kicked away, come back in with the heroic entrance. He really was the main character of this anime.
Yep, and we're going to take a look at where this brings us and where the chips have fallen at the end of week 1, day number 2. It's gonna be Beyond Gaming, a pretty expected win over some 9. Frank Esports winning versus Impunity in what we thought would be a very close match for the day. J Team picking up a pretty expected win once again versus Duish Team, and then PSG proving that yesterday's early to mid game might have been a bit of a fluke right there, and they came back so strong versus DCG, and TPBC versus MFT just absolutely steamrolling them from start to finish. Let's see what it does to the standings, and we've currently got 4 teams tied for first place. I mean, this is the end of day 2, so we take this with a grain of salt, but we've got J Team, PSG, BYG, as well as Frank Esports at the top of the table. I think wins right now might not be as important. What I think are more crucial are going to be the losses. So for example, DCG, you don't want to start off 0-2, because I mean, at the end of the season you should be hoping to be somewhere around at least like the 12 to 14 wins, so it is going to be a bit difficult starting off 0-2. We'll take a look at the schedule for tomorrow. Our opening match is going to be INP versus DCG. I think this is going to be really even. It's somewhere around like the 4th to 6th, 7th place teams within the PCS. Jewish Team versus MFT as well should be a banger. Maybe messy, but I'm pretty excited to see that one. JT versus Sem9, PSG versus BYG, and then CFO versus Frank to round out the day. Whew, what a schedule.
Yeah, when we look at the results today, if you paid attention to the last split, it was really all the higher seeding teams from last split being able to get the win today. And when we look at the standings, the thing that stands out to me the most, you talked about DCG starting 0-2, but also at the same time, Frank Esports coming in at 2-0. You talked about how losses are important, but the inverse also means that if you have less losses, you have more wins. And that's exactly the place that Frank Esports is in position for 2-0, looking great at the start of the split. Hopefully they continue that momentum, but that's all we have for today for day number 2. It was a bit of a different setup, definitely unexpected for some of our viewers, but I hope you had a great time. I at least did. I don't know about Jenny, maybe she just hates me now. I'll
What?
let
That
her
is
have a
not
word.
true. What? No, we'll talk about this later. We're gonna play
Okay,
ARAM later, and we're gonna like get this
all right,
caster synergy up and running
but
even more. But yeah, I had a great time with all of our audience. Also, enjoyed today's streams. But yeah, we're gonna be back here again tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you there.